Her smile shines as bright as the stars at night. Her heart is as kind as can be. She has the patience of a saint, but if you push her, oh Lordy. A straight talker is smiley. She's the salt of the earth. Make no mistake, she matters. Catch Smiley's story on a live stream. Oh boy, that girl can matter. Go Smiley. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Missing posters and stories of heartache and fear. She tells us all of the heartbreaking tears. She can sniff out the guilty from a mile away. If Smiley's on the case, then she's here to stay. She cares about these missing children. She cares deeply about them all. She speaks the truth with integrity. For the truth, she will seek it all. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. Smiley's questions are like a heat-seeking missile. She's going straight for the bullseye. Don't ever believe you can fool her. She's too wise, man, she won't comply. She values freedom like the 4th of July. She values respect even more. If you want to earn a place at Smiley's table, watch the clock, it takes time for sure. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear. If you break her trust, you're done for. Trust don't grow back like grass. So don't give Smiley a reason to doubt you, or that friendship will shatter like glass. She's a damn good woman, that much we know. She puts in the hours to bring them kids home. If your child is missing, you want Smiley on the case. She is always willing and she gives so much grace. She's a Smiley, alright. She's a Smiley. Make no mistake why she's here. She's Smiley, alright. She's Smiley. If you're guilty, she'll smell out your fear.
Hello, 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 everyone. It is the last day of the month. It is the 31st of July. Welcome in, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Hello, Patty. Hello, Janice. Hello, hello. Where's Summer and Sebastian? 1-800-TBI find. Hello, Not Crazy by Crazy Lady. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let's see who else we got here. I don't want to miss anybody. So if anybody comes in, welcome. Please hit the thumbs up. If I seem a little down today, I'm sorry. I lost a family member on my dad's side, so I do apologize about that. So I guess I am. And all this tragedy and stuff going around, it just makes your head spin. But anyway, welcome in. Bring your tea, bring your coffee, bring your drinks, bring something stronger. Hell, bring some Jack Daniels, bring some vodka, bring it all. I don't care what you bring. Bring it in. Viewer discretion is as advised. No, I haven't been drinking. Not yet. I can't speak though. Viewer discretion advised. So just buckle up. This is a violent crime. It's real-time developments. And I'm bringing it to you on Smiley Stories World. So welcome back to Smiley Stories World. I'm Smiley. I don't chase the clout, honey. I chase the truth, justice, and tonight I'm going to bring it to you. And I'm going to bring it as I know it, the real stuff. I'm sorry again, I didn't come on here earlier. It may be triggering. My head is a little bit spinning here. So they caught this Freakazoid. They caught Mr. Freakazoid, the Devil's Den Devil. He picked a good place to go, didn't he? They captured him. They captured him mid-haircut. Mid-haircut, his hair fell on the ground. His hair fell on the ground, y'all. Arkansas was so good. So good. I have to give them kudos. I do. They knew what they were doing. They're unlike my hometown, Tennessee, which I'm very disappointed in. They're unlike these bozo cops. I'm sorry. That's greed, like half of these people on here that wants to come on here 24/7 just for the clicks, views, likes, and money. I'm sorry. Did I say that? I guess I did, didn't I? And fuck up these cases on YouTube. And by the way, I'm not doing them 4 cases in Tennessee anymore. So nobody asked me why I'm not coming on here doing them. If you can't figure it out, I'm sorry. They can reach out and touch somebody, honey. Y'all can get reached out and touched. Smiley and her family's not. This man right here, we're going to talk about today, was getting his hair cut. He had no intentions of leaving. None. Zero. Hey, Millie. Honey, I'm so glad everything was okay for you and your hubby at the hospital. I'm glad. Don't need no more bad news for nobody. When Arkansas State Police walked in and placed him under arrest, just like that. Just like that. They knew what they were doing from the beginning. And they marked that floor where the hair hit the ground as evidence. I kind of feel sorry for the person who was cutting his hair, though. I know she was absolutely floored. Hey, Gypsy. Crazy. Everybody coming in. Hello. July 30th, 4:57 p.m. inside. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I don't care at this point. Everybody knows she's going to be famous. That lady's going to be famous. Love her to death, though. She thought quickly. She turned her video camera on, honey, and started filming it. Thank you, Miss Barbara. Lutipa's Beauty Salon in Springdale, Arkansas, honey. Y'all go there and get your hair cut. The devil himself was sitting in the chair. McCann, 28 years old, sat in that chair. Clippers buzzing. Zoom, then boom. Law enforcement walks in and swarms in. They had been watching him. We're going to watch the press conference that came out this morning, earlier today, but I hadn't had a chance to get on here again. I do apologize for that. They had been watching him, and the salon was immediately closed. The hair clippings fell immediately on the floor, was photographed. was marked off with markers. Anything that was critical, they got. They did their job. They took everything into evidence. Even though he's made a confession, let me get to that. He ain't denied nothing. Let that sink in. They didn't just take him in. They preserved the hair. My understanding is they already got DNA on him from his cut. Let me tell you something. That's a hard job to take somebody out like that. Hold on, let my dog in. Y'all know what time it is. One always don't want to come in. You know what time it is. Come on. Come on. That's a hard job. That's not an easy job. That's a hard job. Okay? So the only thing I'm confused about is how did they, well, we should get to that in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and throw it out here. How did they, if he had never been arrested and blah, 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 which we're going to get to that in a minute, because I thought I had some breaking news, but since I had my emergency and my family and all this stuff I found out about, I didn't get to come on here today, but that's okay. It don't matter as long as justice is done. How did they, I heard them say in the press conference that they got, that's how they followed him through his cut and his blood that he dropped. If he's never been, and he wasn't arrested at the school or anything on prior charges or anything because he was let go. We'll get to that in a minute. How did they have his DNA? I'm just wondering. Thank you, Millie. Y'all don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm always fine. How did they get his DNA? I'm curious. Anyway, that's why they're the bosses, right? They did, again, an incredible job. Again, they should always, Arkansas police, be praised. State troopers, the governor, park rangers, witnesses. There were some incredible witnesses. Good job. Everybody pulled together and worked together amazingly. Amazingly. That black sedan, they knew it was not a Mazda. I'm telling you right now, they knew it wasn't a Mazda. They knew that. But getting the vehicle and all the footage, there was a reason they didn't want that footage put out. From the Devil's Den, Bolo, the license plates that was reportedly taped, it was still like that. I think that's what they said. I might be wrong on that one, but just like the suspect description. Why the hair might matter, because of the DNA and the blood under the skin, the trace evidence and all that kind of stuff. That's why. It wasn't just about all that. It was about what the investigators were waiting for. They were waiting for stuff to come back. They knew who he was. They was keeping an eye on him in plain clothes. But they didn't want him to go underground. They didn't want nothing effed up. Nothing. They knew what they were doing. Makes you think, don't it? Makes you think. We're going to go over this. I guess I'm not going to do it in order because we could go over this morning's news. But first, I want to go over this press conference. That's what I want to go over. They're going to answer questions, of course.
Before we open for questions, just want to touch real briefly on something that gets lost in this sometimes, and that's the family story. we've spoken to the family quite a few times over the last several days. And what we heard consistently is what a loving mother and father they were, loving husband and wife that they were towards each other. They absolutely protected those girls to their fullest extent, to the point that it cost them their lives. We're in awe of this mom and dad. We're also in awe of these girls. The information that they were able to provide to start us down this path to be able to make this arrest, it all started with those two little girls. It's incredible. We also
That's
don't
what
want
I'm
to forget
understanding
that
too.
there was a third sister. Thankfully, she was not with the family on the trail that day, but she suffered just as tragic of a loss, and we need to keep that in mind.
Here's how a doctor treats toenail fungus without a prescription.
You got to be.
If your toenail fungus came back after using
I'm gonna
tea
let it
tree,
play
Vicks,
through,
or a
but
common
somebody
fungus
else make
cream, you need to see
a half
this.
a cent.
And let me show you how to get rid of fungus for good at home today. The reason your fungus won't go away is because the impacted fungus roots have already burrowed deep
You gotta
into the
watch these
capillaries of
nasty
the nail bed.
commercials, though.
And
Gotta
even
have my face
Stanford
in the
scientists now proved that these fungus roots completely clog blood flow, allowing the fungus to feed on the fresh keratin. So if you've had toenail fungus for over 3 months, chances are good you're already suffering from this capillary clog caused by the impacted fungus roots.
Anyway,
My team just proved that fungus
not.
that resisted a previous treatment will only get worse because it's burrowed roots deeper into the nail bed, out of reach of the messy creams and liquids, unless you do this one thing tonight. As a doctor, I've seen some pretty bad infections, but none are harder to treat than a fungus that has built up antifungal resistance. Luckily, after 12 years of research in the Navy antifungal lab, my team and I have developed a solution guaranteed to work for every type of toenail fungus, and so simple you can do it at home tonight. It's got nothing to do with painful surgery, dangerous meds, or messy creams. Those only cause more cuts. And
because of that, I would plead with you and the public to please be sensitive to the fact that there's a family that's grieving. It's hard to express because I can't understand it, what they're going through. Misinformation hurts. Speculation hurts. When they read things, when we talked to them earlier today, they expressed that to us, that they're reading things in social media, they're reading things that are just simply not true. People are speculating, they're talking about things that are not factual, and it hurts. There's no place for that. Along those lines, we have to be very careful in an investigation to be calculated in the amount of information that we put out and when we put that out. I can tell you that this investigative team
See, they
had
have to
one
be very
mission only,
calculated. They
and
do.
that was to put hands on this suspect and to get him off the streets. And on a daily basis, we got together and we talked about what we felt like that we could put out to the public and what was going to be advantageous for us in the investigation and what could potentially be detrimental. One thing that we did not want to do is put information out that was going to take attention away from someone that we needed to look at. You have to remember all the information that we're working off of started with two little girls that witnessed the most horrific thing that you could ever imagine. That was the base of everything that we had. So we had to be careful about relying solely on that information. We had to collaborate that. We're also working in an environment that is half a mile into the woods. So by the time that we get the information from these little girls, and then we collaborate that with members from the public, they can talk or they can, give us further information based on the suspect description and things like that. And then that leads us to a vehicle, and then that leads us somewhere else. This is not an episode of CSI, and it's not going to be wrapped up in a 1-hour episode. It takes hours and hours to develop that information, corroborate that information, and know that it's good information, and know that it's something that we can put out. The last thing that we want to be responsible for is putting information out that's going to hinder the investigation or hinder someone's their likelihood of calling us and putting us onto a suspect that we need to be looking at because it didn't meet all the markers that we thought it should meet. So I hope you can be understanding of that, and I hope as we move forward from here that the speculation and a lot of the talk and a lot of the chatter, especially on social media, that people will be very sensitive to that. This family's been through enough, and they don't deserve to be victimized any further than they already are. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Colonel,
Yes.
can you elaborate more on what was the reason behind this? What was the motive for this? Was this random, or what happened there? And what was the cause of death? How were they killed?
As far as the motive is concerned, as part of the investigation, it's two parts. The first part of the investigation is always going to be to identify and apprehend the suspect. The second part of the investigation is a lot of the whys and a lot of the details. That's still a part of the investigation. I can tell you that we have no reason to believe that there was any known association between our suspects and our victims. There's nothing to indicate that at all. It appears to be a completely
See, they're still saying there's absolutely no connection between them. He didn't appear to know them or anything. And let me ask y'all, put a 1 in the chat. How many people do y'all think? I just have this nagging. How many people think, and I have from day one, you can go back to all of my stuff. Do y'all think this is the first time he's ever did anything like this? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer. I'm just wondering, do you think this is the first time he's ever? Now, remember, now what they have to do is they got him. They got his DNA. They got all of his things. So now what they're going to do is they're going to have to go back. They're going to have to retrace all of his steps. They're going to have to go to places, not just in Arkansas, but they're going to have, and not just Oklahoma. They're going to track him with a fine-tooth comb everywhere he's ever been to make sure there's no connections or nothing like that. So I don't want to get y'all mixed up, but if you think he's ever did anything like this before, put a 1 in the chat. You think he's, and that's Woman's Warrior. That's the start of these things. That's how they start. That's absolutely how they start. Okay. No, I was just saying of committing anything like this, not crazy, because some people do travel and they don't just wake up and say, I'm going to do this one day. I mean, but they do got to get started somewhere on the other hand. So he is young. I don't know. But I know if they didn't get him off the streets, he would damn well do it again. You don't think so? And that's there's no right or wrong answer. But I am with Woman's Warrior this time. I think. But listen, I've had this nagging feeling. I just want you to mark it down. Listen, Arkansas did a great job. Yeah, it would have definitely escalated. And he's admitted this crime. You'll see. I was sent something today. I didn't really look at the dates because, like I said, I've had a lot going on today. And then when stuff like this goes on, my eyes, my head, everything starts hurting. I was sent this today. I can't put it up on the screen. And plus, I think it's coming through Facebook, so I can't. Oh, it was from July 4th, 2025. Okay, so it is from 2025. I thought, well, if it's way back, it couldn't be. Let me see when. Let me read something just a minute. Hold on a minute. Okay. All right. But it's from Arizona. So see, they'll have to go back and retrace if he's ever been there. I don't know. I'm not saying he is. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just saying. Well, this was odd. So I get this from National Missing and Endangered, and I posted it. Some of y'all might have saw it on my Facebook. But 19 hours ago, Fox 10 in Phoenix reported a pregnant teen found dead at a state. I'll just read what I can because I can't. Found dead at a state park. She went missing from a group home in Surprise. Her family speaks to Fox News about it. Okay, let's play this just a minute. Maybe I can play it here. Let's see. No, that's her picture. Hold on. I can't get it up here. Hold on. All right, hold on. I hadn't even looked at all this. Hold on.
No one covers Arizona.
I gotta wait till it skips.
Breaking news. Exclusive
And I ain't saying this may have nothing to do with nothing, but it's just funny to me.
Tonight, Fox 10 investigates the murder of a pregnant teenage girl who disappeared from a group home in Surprise earlier this month.
That 16-year-old was found dead at a park in Maryvale the morning after the July 4th holiday. And a Fox 10 exclusive, investigator Justin Lund is speaking to loved ones about how this tragedy happened and the search for her killer.
Remember the names Zariah Finley Dodd and her unborn child, Zaloni. Zariah was in state custody and lived in numerous group homes. Now, Phoenix police are investigating her murder, and loved ones say she's a product of a system that failed her.
Intelligent, smart, brave, resilient. It didn't matter what you threw at her.
Richland Fox was not Zariah Dodd's birth mom, but she sure saw her as a daughter. Fox used to work as a house manager for Sunshine Residential, which operates 30 group homes in Arizona for kids who are victims of abuse, abandonment, and neglect. Even when Fox left Sunshine, she became Zariah's kinship caregiver and wanted to adopt her. Earlier this year, the teen became pregnant, and her baby shower was scheduled for September.
We talked about how she wants to be a mother, but she's afraid because she's a child having a child. And so,
I'm just saying, at a state park, I'm just saying.
She didn't want it in the way that it happened this way.
She left the group home in Surprise near Cactus and Litchfield Roads to take a walk, but never came back. Fox did not find out about her disappearance until the next day.
No messages are going through her phone. I then noticed that her social media that I also contact her on is completely gone.
She believes Sunrise Residential should not have let Zariah walk out on her own.
Being able to just walk outside the street at 7 o'clock at night at dark and you're pregnant, as a parent, even if my child wasn't in DCS, I wouldn't allow that to happen. 16 and pregnant, you're walking outside at night.
We reached out to Sunshine. A spokesperson says the staff called law enforcement and DCS promptly after Zariah went missing. Surprise Police tells me the report on Zariah was taken just after midnight on July 5th and that the officer was told she left the house around 8 p.m. earlier that night. Nearly 12 hours later, Phoenix police found Zariah's body at Maryview Park, shot to death. Sunshine spokesperson released...
Which there's a difference there.
Our hearts are broken as we mourn the loss of a member of the Sunshine family, and we will not rest until justice is served. We share our deepest condolences with the family and loved ones who were affected by this horrific crime. Our number one priority is to keep our children, staff, and community
welcome to
safe.
the club, woman.
We continue working with the Phoenix Police Department and partnering agencies in their ongoing investigation. The person responsible must be brought to justice to protect our community from further violence. Why would someone shoot a pregnant 16-year-old girl?
You're not even human, to be honest. That is a coward move.
We reached out to DCS to ask if there is an active investigation into this Sunrise group home. Officials cannot comment due to confidentiality laws. Zariah's loved ones have plans to hold a vigil on Friday night at Maryview Park. I'm Fox 10 investigator Justin Lund.
As Justin mentioned, a vigil for Zariah and her.
So again, I mean, it was two different weapons, but it was at a park. I just thought, they are going to retrace steps. And I just thought that is funny. That was sent to me earlier. So I wanted to share that with you. But yeah, that is a cowardly move to do that to a pregnant girl. But anyway, sorry, y'all. But yeah, so I don't know, but let's go back to this press conference before I get all off track here. Okay, hold on.
Random event. As far as the
Random event.
The weapon that was used, it was a knife. Our victims died by stab wounds. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, Colonel. We've spoken to a few parents from students who he was their teacher in different states.
Hey, honey, welcome in.
They all kind of gave the synopsis of perhaps he was a predator. Their children felt like he preyed on younger age girls during his time teaching in those states. We were wondering, have you been exploring any connections to the crimes that Miguel may have been connected with, and any indication that this was his first time committing this? Was he after those girls? Were those his target?
From what we know right now, we have no indication to suggest that the girls were his target.
This was his first time, but he just went to that park that one time that day. I heard potentially somebody suspicious could have been there the weekend before. Was he just that first time at the park, or do you think he was laying out and calculating?
Honestly, that would be pure speculation on my part. Now that we have our suspect in custody, there's going to be a part of the investigation that's going to go back, and they're going to look at timelines, and they're going to look at kind of his movements leading up to that. And hopefully that will give us all a better picture of why he did this, how long he had planned this, things like that. But right now, that's all part of the investigation, and it would simply be speculation on our part.
I believe he was injured as well. Can you elaborate on that during the attacks?
Yes, he was injured. I do not know the.
Don't mix pink salt with lemon and 2 other ingredients if you don't want to donate your entire wardrobe in less than a week. Don't believe me?
Specifics of those injuries. I do know that his injuries resulted in blood loss, and it was that blood loss that allowed us to establish a DNA profile to begin with.
See, how did they do
It was
that?
that DNA profile that was matched today against our suspect.
I would assume that's any loving parent trying to do whatever they could to protect their loved ones.
Absolutely. I would say you're correct. Yes,
You
ma'am.
mentioned some articles found in the house. What was found?
Stacy.
So if you'll remember the photo that was at the back of our suspect, we did find items that were consistent with what was seen in that photograph.
Was the weapon there?
Well, we don't know that it's the weapon, but we did collect some knives from the residence. We won't know until we test it, obviously.
The arrest.
They should have let the girl scalp him.
Was he easygoing? What did that look like?
No, he was completely cooperative.
Can you speak on the?
Yeah, I know, but
the
how did they get his
terrain,
DNA and he's
the
never
area
been
that
arrested?
The victims were found in regards to the girls getting to safety to get help. What kind of time frame that would look like for 2 girls? Was it a rough terrain? Was it something that, another person found them within an hour, or can you speak on that?
So I don't know that we can speak on to the time frame, but the terrain was what you would see in a.
Not crazy. I know they got it from the crime scene. He was hurt. He hurt himself with the knife. But they say he's never been arrested. You have to be arrested or give up your DNA, fingerprints, swabs, or something in order for them to have your DNA in the system. He's never did that before. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking you. Did he have to do that as a teacher? He might have as fingerprints as a teacher, They might have used his fingerprints as a teacher, and that's how they found him. But that's what I was asking. I just want to be clear about that. Yeah, I know he hurt himself, and I know they got his DNA at the scene, but that's what I was asking. Did they as a teacher? But what I'm fixing to show y'all is I'm surprised they even did any of that as a teacher. That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm trying to get at, because I'm not sure. I'm sure they're supposed to do a lot of things when you come in contact with kids. But do they? That's the question. That's the $1 million question. Half of these people, I don't think they care. Look at his face. He looks like a crazed maniac, and I'm not kidding. When y'all saw the arrest of him and you saw who he literally was, is that somebody y'all would hire as a teacher or somebody that you would hire to work around kids? I'm just asking because, frankly, I would think that would scare kids, but that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one nuts here. I don't know.
Typical park. I don't know that it was particularly rugged, but it had some inclines. It was fairly maintained, but it was, our estimation was about a half a mile into the park. So you can imagine how long that would take to get out.
One more question. We had heard reports. Can you confirm that the father was stabbed first, the mother took the kids back into the car for safety, went back to help her husband, and then she died too?
So the information that we have is that the husband was attacked first. The mother did not return all the way to the car with the kids. We believe that the mother took them to safety and then returned to help her husband.
And I know you all said that the suspect, I believe, indicated that he had committed these acts. Any more specifics on what he may have said since his arrest?
We're not going to comment on that at this point. It wouldn't be fair to the continuing investigation.
And then I assume this would be for maybe more the prosecuting attorney, but do you know yet if you'll pursue the death penalty in this case or what kind of consequences you might seek?
This case certainly has the aggravators that exist where a jury should get to decide what the punishment for this defendant is. It's my intention to pose that to a jury. So the state will not be waiving the death penalty in this case.
The family member said that they want you to seek the death penalty.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Did he indicate he plans to plead guilty to this?
Defendant's innocent until proven guilty at arraignment. I anticipate he will plead not guilty, as is custom. I don't know that there's a defense attorney in the United States of America that would allow a defendant to appear at their first appearance and plead guilty. So it is much, much too early to visit about that.
Has he indicated he's going to seek a public defender as private attorney or anything like that?
I'm not aware that a private attorney has been retained yet. If he can't afford a private attorney, I anticipate our local public defender's office will be appointed.
I know that y'all spoke that Devil's Den will be closed for the time being, but what about other state parks and the concerns of family and tourists?
Yeah, as far as the question of the state parks being open, I would ask that you send that to Secretary Shea Lewis and his team. I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know what the decision is on that at this point. As far as the safety of our public visiting those state parks, I would say it's absolute as it can be. I mean, it's not like we have a pattern of people being assaulted or attacked in our state parks. You're probably much more likely to be assaulted getting gas at a convenience store on the way home if you look at statistics. So to echo the prosecutor's comments, I would not hesitate to go to a state park today.
I know you're still looking into it, Stacy, but have you found any more information about background? Where last time?
Let this soft mineral melt under your tongue. to improve vision so you can say goodbye to your optometrist for good. Did you know there is a natural way to enhance your...
Recently moved to the Springdale area. Do you have more information you can share? And just before we let Springdale School District, what else can you tell us?
So, I don't have a whole lot. Some of that we will look into. I can just tell you that we found that he lived in Texas and also Oklahoma and had recently moved here and had taken employment as a teacher. It doesn't sound like he was ever an actual teacher in Arkansas, but that he was a teacher in other locations. Right now we're completely focused on our case here, and we haven't explored any of that background investigation. I fully expect that other jurisdictions will probably reach out to us to see if they have if there are cases throughout the U.S. that may be connected to him. I fully expect that.
As of right now, he's the only suspect. He's not suspected in any other incidents here in our area.
That's correct. Not that we've been made aware of. That's for sure.
Recently, we moved here a few weeks ago, a few months.
I believe it's been a few months. Yes, sir.
Major, can you clarify? You say you made statements indicating that he had killed them. Did he flat out confess, or what exactly did he say?
So I was not actually in the room when he was confession, so I'm not going to speak to, I certainly don't want to get that wrong, but just know that he did indicate that he had committed the murders.
Hey, Leslie.
I guess, would you call it a confession, or you don't know for sure?
I would call it an admission.
Does the suspect have any sort of criminal history that you all know of?
No, he did not. Not any adult criminal history that we've been able to find, for sure.
Did he indicate why Springdale's not that far from the state park? Any indication why he, for 5 days, stayed so close to the scene, or was he planning on fleeing the area or the state at some point?
There was no indication that he was going to flee the area. He actually had a residence in Springdale, so that's why he was in the area. But he gave it doesn't sound like he was making any attempts
That's what I'm telling you.
He didn't conceal his car or any of those things. Yes, ma'am.
Any history of mental illness?
Not that we know. We're still exploring. We just took him into custody last night, so we're still, vetting a lot of the information that we don't know about him to this point.
How did police pinpoint him at the barbershop?
Good old-fashioned police work.
Was there any technology used or that aided in the investigation?
Absolutely.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, were there any license plate readers or anything that gave a tip to where he was at that point in time? Or?
I'll just say this, that there's rarely a case that we work that doesn't include those types of things. So we used everything. When I say that it was all hands on deck and there was no stone left unturned, it involved all of those technological aspects.
With the high volume of tips that came in, can you elaborate on how you sort of knew which ones to look into?
So we had a really good filtering system, and we are aware initially there were some issues with tips and the phone system that we had in place at that time. Once we implemented the tips line, we had a team around the clock filtering through those, and we had a pretty good matrix of the ones that we would push to the top and the ones that we would term a lower priority. So it's but most of if we got indication of it involved video, photographs, a first-hand account at the park, those were our priorities.
And I understand that every case is different, but you for many years investigated the worst crimes. Is this typical of a random crime like this, and the person goes back and gets a haircut in the same car?
Nothing about this case is what I would call conventional. In my 27 years that I've been with the state police, this is probably one of the most heinous that we've had, especially the aspect of just how random it was. you know, when we were talking last night in the command center, that it was every agent's worst nightmare, because in a typical investigation, we use we call victimology, and you can usually kind of pinpoint something that a victim has done or the circumstances they're in, whether, you know, it's a domestic violence or just drug related. You can typically narrow down your suspect pool. We had no way to do that in this case, so it made it particularly difficult, and what makes the work by our agents so extraordinary. Yes, ma'am.
Was the suspect trying to change his identity at all?
We don't have any indication that he was doing that. You know, he was obviously getting a haircut, but you could chalk that up to school starts next week. So, but he didn't indicate he was trying to alter that I'm aware of, that he was trying to alter his identity.
They don't believe how toxic this is. If you're still using a plastic or wooden cutting board, you need to hear this.
And you all mentioned that he was cooperative when you got to the barbershop. Any other initial reaction from him when you all showed up? Anything you could tell us?
That's probably best that I not discuss that so early in the investigation to this point.
Can you speak on the role of social media and helping bring about the arrest of the suspect?
I will say that social media did nothing to help our investigation. I would say that it absolutely hindered our investigation. As you heard the Colonel mention, the hurt and just the emotional toil that social media gave to that family. It's so easy to be that keyboard warrior and question everything that law enforcement is doing. And I would just simply say that let us do our job. If you've got a tip, give it to us. Don't spread it on social media unless you're an expert. And if you're an expert, you're probably not on social media.
One of the first details that you'll put out about the car was there was tape covering the license plate. Was that the case with his vehicle, and any reason why? Was he trying intentionally to cover up the license plate?
Yes, he did use tape to conceal some of the things that would help identify his vehicle.
Does that lead you to believe at all that he's done this before?
There are indications. I mean, you know, everyone speculates that he took there was a lot of thought that went into this to conceal his identity. I will say that, but on the other side of that, he was also very sloppy. So whether he committed something else, we don't know, but we are certainly going to explore that.
How long between when you determined that
Well, they're going to explore
was
it.
the suspect that you were looking for and when you made the arrest? How long did that take?
Within the hour.
How long between when you began questioning until he confessed?
I don't know that. I'm sorry.
I think we're just going to take a couple more questions. Anyone else?
Can you speak on which agencies and how many officers that were involved?
Oh, so in any agency that I missed, the Colonel may have included this. I can tell you that the FBI was instrumental, the Washington County Sheriff's Office, the Fayetteville Police Department, just about every agency up there, the Benton County Sheriff's Office with their flock cameras, the Park Service, the Game and Fish. Who am I leaving out? Springdale, absolutely instrumental. They had a detective embedded with us from the very beginning. And anybody else? And just dozens of detectives that were all hands on deck, working round the clock. To make sure that we made an arrest. The community deserved that, and that's what we gave them.
And moving forward, the different agencies and supporting these kids, I mean, loss of both of their parents. If there's anything that you want to touch on with that.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
I said moving forward and supporting the kids after the loss of their parents. Like, if there's anything that you want to say on that with the different agencies that were involved.
Colonel, you probably better answer that question.
I'm not sure if I understood the question exactly, but I can tell you that Governor Sanders has been in contact with the family multiple times.
Oh yeah, they said they're going to go
She's
for that.
expressed
They are going to go for that.
absolute heartbreak of the state, the support and the prayers that that family will receive, not only from her and her family, but from the state of Arkansas. In addition to that, she's made available any resource that that family needs during this recovery process from state agencies, whether that be law enforcement or other type of support agencies. I can also tell you from someone myself that has spoken with the family multiple times, they're an incredibly strong family, and they have a very, very strong family support in place. I have no doubt that those three girls are going to be well taken care of, and they're going to get everything they need from that family. And they also know that if they have a need that we can assist with, we being the state of Arkansas, any type of state public entity, then we will absolutely do that.
Lastly, I know while the investigation is ongoing, you're conducting an internal review and we'll see could things be done better. We're going to call transfers and information be released. Am I correct? Can you talk to me about that?
Yes, we will always, after any significant incident, we'll debrief it and we'll look at what we did right, what we did wrong, what we could do better. I can tell you from our vantage point right now, it's hard for me to be critical of anything that our investigators did. You know this. I know these guys. I know our capabilities, but you forget, honestly, until you see it play out. You see the level of expertise and skill. Cannot say enough about our investigators, and not only the skill set that they use to bring this suspect to justice, but just they put everything into it, their heart and soul. I mean, it was an impressive thing to watch, and so
Hadn't it though? It's been
of what
crazy.
we could do better. I'm sure there'll be things. Y'all have heard me say it before. Our agency is comprised of human beings, and we're always going to make mistakes. And there's going to be things that we can fine tune. But from my vantage point right now, I have nothing but gratitude and respect for our investigators and the way this was handled.
Carl, one more question. Can you confirm when you spoke to him after the arrest that this was not, he didn't know them, he didn't know the family at all, this was just a pure accidental coincidence that he targeted them?
I can confirm that, and again, as Major Rhodes said, I was not present for the interview, and I've not listened to the interview yet. But I can confirm that we have absolutely no indication, no reason whatsoever to believe that there was any connection at all between our suspect and our victims.
I've got one more. Can you elaborate on the role that the FBI and federal law enforcement helped in the investigation?
Yeah, so the first thing I can tell you is how blessed we are with their partnership. The prosecutor and the major both mentioned all the agencies that were involved. What's always nice about that is they don't wait on us to call them. As soon as this was known, as soon as it was made public, honestly, I don't know how they found out as quick as they did. My phone started ringing off the wall from our special agent in charge of FBI in Little Rock, from the sheriffs in the northwest part of Arkansas, the police chiefs in that area, HSI, you name it, just about every agency that you can think of immediately reached out to us for any support that we needed. I cannot specifically tell you what roles they played, but I can tell you that they played significant roles. There was, as the major alluded to, there's part of the investigation that is looking at this from the standpoint that it's completely random. There's another part of the investigation that has to close the loophole of, is there a connection at all between our suspects and our victims? And unfortunately, in this case, our victims had recently moved here. Their origins are from California. They, I believe, lived in North Dakota most recently. So there's a lot of geographical space and a lot of people that had to be talked to. And we leaned heavily on not only our state and local partners, but other state and local, and absolutely our federal partners.
I'm just curious about the communication challenges out there. I know we can't get cell service when we go out there.
Right.
How much Did that affect the response, and how did that affect the investigation?
Yes. The answer to that question is yes. It was very challenging. The fact that we did not have cell service and our investigators didn't have cell service, that other campers on the trail didn't. So, again, it kind of goes back to the type of information that was coming in, the amount of information that was coming in, and the time lapse of the information that was coming in. It all factored in. To say this is an unusual crime scene, unusual crime in just about every aspect, it was extremely challenging. And all of those things came into play, from lack of cell service to the terrain itself.
I think one more, and then we're going to wrap up.
Yes, ma'am.
Are the kids enrolled anywhere near the school that he was going to check?
I don't know the answer to that. I know the kids are with family right now, but I don't know the answer to that. Okay, thank you very much.
Watch what eggs do to you.
So, mid-cut, guys, mid-cut. I mean, you can run from a lot of stuff. You can. You can run from a crime scene. You can run from your past. But you can't run from the truth. At least not forever. Not when the community, not as great as this community and the media and the people like this, they demand answers. They demand answers. I have never in my life, even when I hadn't been on YouTube, seen such great, and I'm talking great, police work in my entire life. Not in the media, not in person. I mean, they was on it. Everybody there deserves kudos. They did a great job. I mean, Clinton and Kristen Brinks, their story will not die out. People will know their names. And they will know this freakazoid walked away from this nightmare, but everybody's going to know who we stand with and who we stand behind, their children. And I hope everybody continues to look at their, their footage and all that stuff, because there's still going to be briefings and there may be more charges added. Green Eyes is right. This freak is evil devil's twin is toast. And if they have anything, still call it in to the state troopers or whoever. Make sure you turn it in. Don't just sit there and assume he's going to get what he's got coming. We don't want no loopholes here. I was watching the news this morning. Actually, I'm going to play it here in a minute. And the news station this morning, it came on, and the news lady was, I don't know, she maybe fixing to get off, or I don't remember. And they sent her a message about this idiot and said his first year of teaching when she was reading or whatever she was doing, and it come through, and she said his first year, the very first year, because he taught fifth graders in Oklahoma, but the very first year that he ever taught, which means he got to go on and teach. He got to go on and teach fifth graders, let me mind you. But the very first year he ever taught, he was placed on leave due to some misconduct, which has later been said throughout the day. Like I said, I've been a little preoccupied, but it later come out through the day. I've still been keeping my eye on it through rumors that the leave was because he tried to do things or allegedly to students and stuff. I don't know what grades. I only know that he was put with fifth graders after that. But anyway, it's infuriating. We just learned that this suspect here in the Devil's Den double murder homicide, the man arrested for these murders of this beautiful couple on my screen that left 3 beautiful kids, 2 of which had to see all of this. Clint and Kristen Brink, right here on my screen. That suspect that's on my thumbnail that looks like a crazed nightmare. I hope I never see that face in my dreams. I don't know why anybody would hire him to be around any child. He would scare a bird flying in the air, if you ask me. Anyway, he was placed on leave the very first year he ever taught school in Oklahoma due to misconduct. But he was not arrested, y'all. He was not arrested. He quietly left the job instead. They gave him that option. Just let that sink in a minute. So, allegations just gone. And nobody said a word until now. He was able to teach still in other schools there. Because you know why? He wasn't arrested. He had no record. It didn't hurt him at school. Guess what? That's why I'm questioning the damn DNA. But kudos to them because they got his DNA. I don't really care how they got it. But whoever was running that school has not only failed this beautiful couple on my screen and their children, they failed them kids, whatever them allegations were. And whatever this evil sicko has did. Yep. He sure did. I saw that green eyes. So nobody said a word until now. Now, I'm not talking about Arkansas because Arkansas had no idea. They had the unpleasantry of this fool moving to their state. They did a wonderful job. I never saw such a wonderful job. But why did Oklahoma let this go? According to News Channel 5, the suspect who were just calling a freakazoid worked as a teacher in Oklahoma. His first year of teaching, he was placed on leave, but then gave the opportunity to just leave because of misconduct. Really? Oh, if life was so easy. Yeah, he picked the wrong state. Just like people freak with people, and one day they're going to walk up on the wrong people. He picked the wrong park, the wrong people, the wrong family. Sure did. So he ends up in Arkansas, brutally murdering 2 parents in front of their children. Does that sound like someone who should have slipped through the cracks? Here's what burns me up. If the allegations that, and anything any children says is serious, why wasn't it flagged? Why was he able to leave so quietly without an investigation or report? Something that followed him. Anything. Because now 2 kids, actually 3, they have no parents. And the community has been shattered. That raises huge questions. I mean, did the school even report him to state authority? And, was any law enforcement involved at all? What kind of misconduct was it? I mean, we don't really need to know that. We can figure it out. It don't take a rocket scientist. Y'all, this isn't about Oklahoma or Arkansas anymore. These are about public safeties and what needs to be done from now on. The full personal records from his teaching jobs. Any DCF or DHS involvement or all that bullshit. Wherever, whether he worked around kids again after that, whether any unsolved crimes overlapped, where did he go? And believe me, they're going to check all that. We need to know. Well, we don't need to know. We don't need to know shit. As long as the police checks into that. But Arkansas now and FBI now is going to dig into it. Green Eyes is right. He's going to be toast. They're going to cross-reference everything, everywhere he's ever went to, every store he's ever walked in, everybody he's ever called, all of his social media, everywhere he's ever been on vacation. That's why I brought the woman up in Arizona that is dead in a park, pregnant. That's why I brought all that up. All that. Is there more out there? Or was this his first time? I don't know. I got a nagging feeling about this fool. I'm just glad they got him off the streets. I don't know. Again, you don't just wake up and say, I'm going to do this. And what in his past? What in his childhood? Woman's warrior is right. Maybe it's his first attack on a human. What is in his childhood? Animals? I would be willing to bet. I would. I don't know about y'all. I can't stop thinking about those 2 little girls. I cannot stop thinking about those 2 little girls. They're not okay. And everybody's saying they're okay. They're safe. They're with family. Their family's not their mom and their dad. I had the best family ever. But anytime if I was sent somewhere to my aunts or my uncles that I love dearly, like my brothers and sisters, if it wasn't because I wanted to go, you better believe that's the time I got homesick. They have no more home to go home to their mama and daddy. They have no more. That memory is never going to go away. And we owe it to them for transparency. Well, we don't owe them nothing. They, and I believe Arkansas will give it to them, but the other states need to work with Arkansas, and I hope they do. Demand transparency. Make sure no system ever lets them down. Get the answers from these school school systems. Wherever he's been. Did he work in daycares? And then he transferred here. Thank God he didn't do that. Now, they don't think he was after the little girls. But he's got an odd past, evidently, with children. I agree, Millie. This whole entire world has been turned upside down, especially in this last year, what is going on. What is going on? You know, you can always call the FBI tip line, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Don't forget Kristen Amanda Brink. Don't forget Clinton David Brink. This is real life. This is not just content, at least not here on this channel. Unless there's something to report, we probably won't even be talking about it again. Well, there's going to be stuff to report on this story because more will be coming out probably in the next few days. You know, I done told you I'm not going to report on for those coming in that didn't know. I'm not going to report on the other. You can read, you can go back and rewind. I'm so upset about that. I'm not going to report on that. It don't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Kudos. Let the police handle that. Let them get that evil person. If you're smart, you'll stay. If you were smart, you would actually stay away from that case. Honestly. Over here at Smiley's World, we fight for the truth. We support justice. Hit that like, share it to get this out. There's not really, I shouldn't even say that now because there's not really anything to get out. Right? He's caught. This evil monster's caught. You know. But justice for the Brinks. Justice for them. We'll continue to cover it all through court. If he don't get toasted before. I don't know what's up with the black thing he's got on, a black plastic thing. I guess they do things in all different colors. Toast. He's toast, all right. You see that black thing, green eyes? He's toast. He is toast. The devil himself. They got a mark on him. Y'all see my little post this morning? Devil, fire coming out. Y'all do know the devil was once an angel himself. Just in case you didn't know. Y'all be safe out there. Be alert. Be alert. I love y'all. Be safe. Stay safe. You never know. Okay. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.